Most of the people I've been seeing talk about this online, and this is part of the reason that I'm doing this, is the reception for this cipher has been very, very positive. Very, very positive. Hopefully this causes platforms like XXL to step up their game a little bit and maybe make some better choices when it comes to putting out this kind of content, because the reception to this has been very positive. Been seeing a lot of great clips of the ciphers, have not seen the cipher in full. So I'm kind of curious as to how great all of it came out, and kind of curious as to like what their reasoning was when deciding like what's their rap's new class sort of classification here, because some of these people who are in the mix here have been around for a minute, like not everyone here is a spring chicken per se. Like Vaughn's been around. He's obviously been making noise recently due to his connections with TDE and, the Joey Badass beef. Marlon Craft has been around for a minute, from what I understand. Ovrkast is not necessarily brand new either, but the fact that these guys are bringing together like a new generation of talent to, at least do some kind of like collective performance is cool. Marco Plus kicking things off. We're getting right into it. Let's go.
But fuck it, I ain't giving up. Keep it rolling, cold as Curtis Snow. Nigga, I speak the truth and let the fake niggas bluff.
Okay, already we're kind of clear. Like, if this was in the last XXL freestyle, this already would have been the best one. And from some of the clips that I've heard, like, this isn't even the best one, but it's already pretty good. Like, he's really going the distance. He's not fucking around. This is not like a simple 16, really quick 30-second cipher, pop in, pop out, we're done. He's having fun with it. Great consistency, great breath control, great energy, amped all the way through. Really slick, really smooth. Liking this. So let's see how much longer it goes.
When I go, just know I did it with love. Put his passion in his microphone and flash when all the lights was on.
Okay, wow. Pretty strong start. Very consistent energy. I feel like he could have just kind of gone on forever. Not every rhyme was lining up. There wasn't a ton of wordplay, but like he just has this incredible intensity to him and can just flow and flow and flow and flow. And I sort of had this feeling that if he wanted to, he could have just gone on forever. He could have really just kind of gone on forever. There was kind of this unfiltered quality to a lot of what he was saying that just felt like this guy's just completely just dropping all of his dirty laundry. He's just emptying every skeleton out of the closet. And the further he goes, the more he's going to do that. He's just dropping all of it. But a very strong start from Marco Plus. All right, let's see what Reuben Vincent does, because that's a tough intro to follow. Yeah. And I like that we're on the same beat. Everybody's got to be on the same beat. Maybe it'll change up. We'll see, but I like that everybody sort of has the same level of challenge on the same instrumental. I feel like that's part of the point. And it's a very kind of woozy, great, jazzy rap beat. It's classy.
With chains, hunters, VVS Stone, and top dollars. Beware sudden silence, that mean the killer's behind you.
Wow! Holy shit! I preferred that one. And for a host of different reasons. I mean, not only did you get the consistency and intensity of I feel like the previous performance, but at the start it was a little mild. It was a little mild at the start, but he built it up. He built it up not only in terms of content, but just his vocal delivery and his speed a little bit, and just the volume, the intensity. He just reached this incredible peak, just going Super Saiyan as we were getting closer toward the end. And I loved the reference points. He just like packed. This was like a kind of a rap nerds. This was a music heads kind of cipher performance. He packed. I would need to go back over to hit every single one, but he packed this performance with a lot of reference points, from the Nas to the Kanye to Andre. I mean, there was a laundry list. He packed it with a lot of music reference points, which was really cool. Ovrkast is next in line. Let's see what he does.
I went back to work and seen ice out here, Persian hoods. Even got a civilian, how they giving.
What? That's all he's did. That's it. That's all he's doing. I definitely commend the very apt, very current social commentary he was working in there. But you could tell he didn't feel as comfortable in that moment as everybody had so far. Like that he made the beat. Shout out to Ovrkast for making the beat. Maybe, you know, this is just not the setting. Who among us could rap their ass off in a room full of 9 other men? Points for making the beat. Marlon Craft is next. Now, I've already seen clips of this particular cypher performance, of this specific, is what I want to say, this specific cypher performance, and Marlon drops a lot of bombs on this. I'm going to spoil it a little bit. He drops some bombs on this freestyle. I'm not going to hold back any previous knowledge I have of this cypher performance, but I still do want to see it again for sure. Prior to this freestyle, my knowledge of this guy is still pretty like light. I heard about him through FD Signifier, kind of talking about white rappers and everything. I liked what I heard of him in that video and what I sort of heard about him in that video, but haven't really dove too deep into his catalog myself. But after hearing this, I think I'm going to have to.
While the world playing dice with the universe, I'm here worried about the artist's role.
That 23andMe bar, the dismantle bar. Loved how conversationally sounded toward the end. The way he enunciates certain words like community, just sort of like putting it out there in the way that he does, because he could have said that word a dozen different ways. Saying it with that inflection at that moment in the beat just says so much about how locked into the rhythm of the instrumental he is. I saw this like recent video interview clip of Rock Marciano talking about the rhythmic components of rapping, and it sort of seems like Marlon's very in tune with that. You know, he's not just simply saying words because he feels them, though that very much is clear. It seems like he's picking certain words and enunciating them in certain ways for the rhythmic quality of them, which I feel like is a bit of a top tier rapper behavior. Flow is too monotone. I feel that you mean like sort of his delivery. He definitely did have a very, very sort of like consistent. He was, in terms of that inflection, he was very much like kind of in one gear. At least for me, I feel like him and Reuben are side by side, but definitely two of the best freestyles so far. I'll sit on it a little bit more. Seems like most of chat's siding with Reuben though, and that's definitely fair. All right, after this we have Ben Reilly. Ben Reilly, who again another person here I'm not familiar with. Let's see what Ben does.
And make the coupe Sydney Sweeney just to keep niggas abreast. I'm double-breasted. Follow suit while the rest get addressed.
The abreast line was crazy. What I loved most about, I love two things about his performance most. One, the guy really did not settle on one single flow and didn't necessarily sort of like, you know, maybe like Marco Plus and Reuben did sort of start at a certain point and kind of intensify his flow slowly. He was like changing up constantly. He was like switch. But every single flow he came out with was real bouncy and real catchy. Like there were so many flows and certain bars that he hit that like had so much hook potential. Dude just seems like a hooky guy. The guy's just like full of potential hooks and refrains. Very dynamic. I agree. Always hitting you with a different flow, and every flow was catchy. It wasn't even just that he was changing up constantly. Every flow was its own catchy little tidbit in the overall performance. And while he didn't go the distance like, maybe Marco did, everything he did just felt very, very purposeful. Just felt very purposeful, very witty, very funny, very expressive. Like I feel like we've heard 5 freestyles that would have been the best freestyles any given year in the past couple of years for XXL. Like this is bad. I'm feeling a little Ben Marlon Reuben personally.
That boy cold.
Wait, the back of his shirt says fried rice as fuck? Now I'm even more confused. The fuck is fried rice as fuck?
My girl ain't like that line about Mariah, but I'll back it up. So now she probably mad at me. So now I'm probably mad at her.
What the hell? That was that was kind of goofy, but also biblically profound. Kind of a mix there, I guess. Like, I mean, it was kind of a mix of godly, then it was kind of silly, but then it was very meta, And it seemed like part of the time he was kind of like just laughing at himself and just laughing at what he was doing in the moment. It felt almost like he was just making it up as he was going along, or just like in the middle of a rant or whatever, which is funny. I really loved some of the way that he would pronounce certain words, kind of like complete a line or make a little bit of a quip, or, just like kind of play with the language a little bit. Just again, just like meld the pronunciations to kind of like make certain bars work. Again, he was very goofy, very kind of off the cuff. I don't know if I would say he was like as technically proficient or hitting me with the same kind of passion and excitement and, electricity that like maybe Reuben was, because Reuben, very much has been kind of like a high point so far. But it was still pretty good. Ugly. Yeah, no, the ugly bit was very funny. Yeah, I feel like I'm feeling this way. Or should Marco go? I don't know. I feel like I was won over more by his sense of humor and just like his nonchalance, but like, that not leading to a lack of caring or a lack of passion, but, sort of like having his guard down a little bit and just kind of doing what, he felt like doing in the moment. It's a hard rank to pick among a series of verses that, for the most part, have been very good. Like, everybody's performance has been good so far. Oh, this is the coolest guy in the bunch. This is the coolest guy in the bunch. The Blade outfit, leather jacket, black pants, everything. Cool guy.
I need the heat on before we start, some wine to drink on. Like Robert Kelly needs a new celly and hose to pee on.
Okay, yeah. That's my least favorite so far. That's not even my Rob Markman bias coming through here. That's not even my pro Rob Markman bias, which I mean, this is a very pro Rob Markman channel. Rob is cool, but he's a man like any other. He's not perfect. He's not above critique. But I feel like if you're going to come at Rob Markman, you've better have some good reason. But honestly, before the Rob Markman bit was even mentioned, I feel like the nail was kind of already in the coffin on this verse, because the whole first leg of it was packed with humor and packed with jokes and packed with these like attempts at one-liners and punchlines, but none of it was landing. I don't know if you guys noticed. I don't know if you guys noticed, but did you catch that one bit where he dropped a line that he thought was going to be really funny, and then he paused like for laughter, but nobody laughed? Like, and he, he sort of like he caught that, he realized that nobody laughed in that moment, and he just like kind of had to continue on. I do commend him for like not stopping in that moment. I would have given up right there. With my much weaker constitution, I would have given up right there. Having all my eggs in that basket and realizing that nobody thought that line was funny and that there was any point to it, I would have folded if I got confirmation that my ideas were bad right then and there. Or at the very least, I would not have continued to be like, oh, well, now I'm going to call out Rob Markman, blah, 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 blah. And also, listen, remind me here, there's echoes here. Was that not the same bit? Was that not the same routine that, who was it? With Joey Badass or somebody else in the midst of their cypher performance, in the midst of their freestyle? They were like, hi, so-and-so. Hi, so-and-so. Who did he borrow that from? Who is that borrowed from? Because that was not his own thing. That was somebody else's thing. And then he just like kind of glommed onto it and tried to turn it into something else, but just face planted doing it. Yeah, Hi Rihanna, is it the Hi Rihanna thing? Either way, he did it badly. So it really doesn't even matter what he was taking it from. I was saying like, wow, everybody's been so good. Everything's been so good so far. I've been so impressed. That was my least favorite. That was my least favorite of the bunch. Lareazy.
Dog for the longest. You just saying a bunch of words. The blog act like it's an omen. I ain't ever down for them to say I'm hot.
Oh my God. God, that's definitely in the top 3. He had a lot of interesting qualities about him. He had a bit of an Andre 3K kind of flamboyance, but then also there was something about him that to me felt like a bit of a young peak Lil Wayne in terms of how he was inflecting and sort of really leaning into certain vowels. There's like an elasticity to his voice that I think is really great. Just super expressive guy. Just like the sound of his voice and the way that he enunciates, he like really snaps you into attention. Okay, next is Vaughn. I heard great things about Ray's performance. So let's see how he does.
No think of just violence. They get their apples split like sharing different music devices.
Wait, Apple split like sharing different music devices? Like,
We stay silent. They constantly disrespect. Them little scary ass white boys should be checked.
oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Not the no jumper shots fired. Not the no jumper shots fired. I mean, I support it. I will say, like, in terms of like being on tempo, the start of that was a little rough, but he finished really strong and had a lot to say without having to spell it all out really clearly. Was very locked into, just essentially like, I don't know how else you could kind of categorize it. The cultural battle that TDE has been fighting on behalf of Doechii just existing. I mean, I've kind of covered this and talked about this myself in my beef video with Aiden Ross that numerous people have said, like, oh, you ethered Aiden Ross, whatever. I mean, he's a piece of shit. He's a moron. Not really much else to say other than what I've already said. And also on top of that, what Ray Vaughn has said. Look, he's making great points in terms of like, if you're going to exist in this space, which people like me, I exist in this space, I mean, I cover lots of different genres of music, but like, I exist in it insofar as I am literally reacting to this. Having an opinion is fine. And I've been told this, having an opinion is okay, but like coming onto your stream with no provocation whatsoever, just being like, this person's stupid, they're not talented, they're a dirty bitch, so on and so forth. That's crazy. That's crazy. You're making it ugly and horrifically personal for no reason whatsoever. And, to some degree in the case of Aiden, like racialized for no reason whatsoever in terms of like the attacks, the negativity, the vitriol. For Ray to address it very directly and in a sensible way, given his, obvious connections to TDE, makes sense. He put it all really well. And did so in a very passionate, probably the most fiery performance so far. Like, I say what I say about the tempo at the start of it, but by the end, he like really locked into it. And not only that, but like he was just fighting to get every single word out and was doing so with just a fire in his belly and more intensity than I think anybody so far. I think so far I'm going to put Ray at the top. And I think now that I've had time to kind of like sit on it, I think I'm going to put Lareazy number 2. Last performance, Chris Patrick.
I'm merch alone. I make what you work from home in a year. His ROI is all of the reason he can't get signed.
In terms of the personal experiences he was addressing there, I very much sort of like support and I like the sentiment of what he was trying to get across. But what was going on with this guy's breath control? He was breathing so loudly and so aggressively at the weirdest moments in the middle of certain bars or in between certain words that it just felt very interruptive. He didn't sort of have that much flow going for him in terms of like a rhythmic proficiency. And then toward the very end, when he settled into that refrain and just kind of like kept repeating himself, it felt very unearned. Like he was like, yeah, here's my mantra that I'm going to leave you with. But it's like, man, very little of what you got across, musically speaking, like really stuck. It just kind of felt like you were podcasting, but like to a beat a little bit. This has got to be my ranking right here. I don't know if there's any need to alter this. I do think it's kind of style he has. If you listen to his music, does that often, so on and so forth. Yeah, I mean, I have listen, nothing that I say, and I will say this is also the case for Chris Patrick. And look, this is part of the reason that the double XL freestyles for the most part and ciphers suck now. A lot of these guys sound good on record or sound decent on record, but they don't sound good in this context. And look, maybe Chris Patrick does have some good records. Maybe, so I mean, really what I'm ranking, and again, what I'm ranking here, what I'm saying here is not necessarily a reflection of whether or not these guys can make a good song. If I dug into all these guys' records, maybe Nasaan has the best track out of all the people who rapped here today. Maybe that could totally be the case. But in terms of like what each of them offered in this cypher performance, this is my ranking. Ray Vaughn and Lareazy had me on the edge of my seat. Ben Reilly was really expressive, had a lot of hooky moments. Marlon Craft had some of my favorite one-liners and was really rhythmic with the way that he got certain words across. Reuben Vincent was fiery and passionate throughout. And then we, sort of like continued from there. There you have it. that's my ranked list. And generally pretty impressed with this. This is really good. There's a lot of good highlights. And after this, I'm going to have to go out and check out Lareazy and probably revisit Vaughn's mixtape too.